Ladies and gentlemen, big hairy news.
Kia ora koutou e te whānau. Welcome back to another edition of Big Hairy News. Kia ora Chewy, how are you, love?
Kia ora, Pat. I am good.
How are you?
Today.
How did you come down after the birthday celebrations on Saturday?
Oh, birthdays are always weird. I often feel that you're sometimes missing something, like,
Youth?
war, conflict, the struggle in the Middle East, the feeling of deja vu, like it's the early 2000s again. All of that good stuff.
Yeah, good God. Friday, getting told or finding out that Trump had decided to, just bomb Iran. And then we're going, so they've supplied the stuff to Israel? No, the stealth fighters left American soil, flew 18 hours, bombed Iran, and then flew back again. So it's a new world, whānau.
As being a war nerd, I found just the timeline of what they told people and how it actually went down to be quite interesting, because I saw the news stories at the end of last week, that people had reported stealth bombers leaving their base in Missouri and flying to Guam. And I thought...
Yeah, because they did a decoy, didn't they?
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. Why would they go to Guam unless they were going to Diego Garcia? But there was no mention of them leaving Guam. And then, of course, they went the other way. They flew over Europe through the Mediterranean.
Well, are you aware that they sent two different groups out? So they sent a decoy girl out to basically going west of America. Might be the ones you're talking about, I don't know. And then the actual real fighters sneakily went the other way. It's a pretty big thing, yeah.
The whole time Trump was going, I'm going to make up my mind in 2 weeks, when that mission was underway. So, I mean, yeah, sure, they're not going to blurt out their war plans to the general public, but I think anybody that knew that the way that a globe works was just like, that's a bit fucked. The only reason they'd send B-2s to Guam is to threaten China.
There are mixed feelings around what's going on at the moment. My initial feelings are, what the fuck, this is wrong, a wrong way to do it. But, I guess in his defense, Trump needed to become a war criminal because all the presidents before him have been war criminals. So I guess he kind of had to do it at some stage just to tick that box. But I think we said last week there's no good guys here. But now I just think of the logistics of country A bombing country B and then go, okay, now we're all finished and you guys are going to be fine. Nothing else.
Nothing else.
God.
The other thing that war nerd Chewy found really interesting is the Americans have never used these bombs before.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest bombs ever dropped. The B-2 bomber is the only one that can drop them. They used 6 of them.
And you can see where they bored into the mountainside. The actual photos from above, there are 6 holes where they bored in.
There are 6 holes, and they are so close together. It's like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't a mission that was set up by an absolute fucking moron, I'd be sort of going, wow, that's really impressive. The pictures that came out of the White House's war room, just in case you were wondering about how, they're sending men on a dangerous mission halfway around the world to drop bombs on a country that they said it wasn't coming. Yes, Trump did wear his stupid fucking hat. Yeah. I don't know why that annoys me as much as it does.
Well, Well, because
that he's wearing essentially campaign merch.
Yeah, no, he's wearing
war room.
campaigning merch, and he's wearing merch that's then going to be sold that afternoon in greater numbers. So it's completely against the emoluments
Just
clause
insane.
because people are now buying them. So
this is
look,
this is the stupid timeline. It's all that zoo's fault that shot Harambe. It all went wrong from there. We're very clear on this.
We're not really featuring this tonight. We probably should be. In fact, I sat there today and I thought we should probably have on someone every single night to talk about this. We're going to talk about lots of other things, but I thought this was a very good job done by a reporter today to point out very gently Trump's hypocrisy with what he used to think about invading a Middle Eastern country with dodgy evidence to what he thinks and does now.
20 years ago, you were skeptical of a Republican administration that attacked a Middle East country on the idea of questionable intelligence of weapons of mass destruction. How is this moment different with Iran?
Well, there were no weapons of mass destruction. I never thought there were.
Yeah,
that's not the question, moron.
The same.
But that's not the question either. The question is alleged weapons of mass destruction back then, alleged weapons of potential mass destruction now. How is this any different? Answer the fucking question.
And that was somewhat pre-nuclear. You know, there was a nuclear age, but nothing.
Did you not know that, Chewy? And like in the early 2000s, there was no nukes. I didn't realize that, but apparently Trump says it was pre-nuclear.
Like it is today. And it looked like I'm right about the material that they've gathered already. It's a tremendous amount of material. And I think within a matter of weeks, or certainly within a matter of months, they're going to be able to have a nuclear weapon. We can't let that happen. I was very much opposed to Iraq. I said it loud and clear, but I was a civilian, but I guess I got a lot of publicity.
You're
but
still
I was
a
very
civilian.
much opposed to the Iraq war. And I actually did say, don't go in, don't go in, don't go in. But I said, if you're going to go in, keep the oil. But they didn't do that.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong.
I saw a clip on Brian Tyler Cohen today, not to just replay Brian Tyler Cohen, but if I can scroll through to the right bit, I'm pretty sure, had a graphic that said he just said that they were wrong, yeah? That said the CIA, the Army, the Navy, and of course his intelligence all said that there's no nukes. So it's not just him talking about Tulsi Gabbard. Is that right? Is it Tulsi Gabbard that's the head of the intelligence? It's not him just saying she's wrong. It's him saying that, I can't see where it is. It's him saying that Army, Navy, CIA, they're all wrong.
All in agreement.
Wrong. Yeah.
You mentioned Tulsi Gabbard.
Mm-hmm.
I was reminded of this the other day. When she was campaigning against Hillary or Kamala or whoever, when they were all saying that the Democrats were going to invade Iran, Tulsi Gabbard's web store, her campaign web store, had a T-shirt that was branded "No War in Iran." You'll be surprised to hear that link is now dead, and that product.
It's also
is not
funny
available.
when you talk about things not aging well. They normally take more than 24 hours to not age well, but 24 hours and things not aging well is something, isn't it? Let me just play a bit of this. This is actually from Brian Tyler Cohen's show, but I had this clip as well elsewhere, but I can't seem to locate it, so we'll just go from here. This is 2016 debates about should George W. Bush have gone into Iraq, on the understanding that there was weapons of mass destruction to a country who had committed no crimes against America. Remember, Iraq didn't have anything to do with 9/11 at all. So, yeah, parallels are slightly more than ironic here.
Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake, all right? Now, you can take it any way you want, and it took Jeb Bush, if you remember at the beginning of his announcement, when he announced for president, took him 5 days. He went back. It was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. Took him 5 days before his people told him what to say. And he
is talking about his brother, so, I jest, obviously.
Ultimately said it was a mistake. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
But so you still think he should be impeached?
I think it's my turn, isn't it?
You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, They lied.
Okay.
They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass
Okay,
destruction.
all right.
But what's
There you go. So
So-
a slightly more than ironic the parallels they're drawing.
Oh, everything. Irony is dead at this point.
Yeah.
For him to just go, no, the massive intelligence gathering apparatus that America has, no, they're wrong, and then I'm going to utter a statement that definitely sounds like it came from Netanyahu, literally weeks away from the bomb, like
making
they
a
have
nuke.
been
Yeah.
since the early 90s. It's ridiculous. Already shipping traffic has been cut off in the Strait of Hormuz, so that's, I think, something like half the world's oil and gas goes through there. That is something that people are going to notice.
Yep.
I
Some
don't know when we'll
more than
notice it
others.
here.
If you still drive those combustion engines, motorists more than others, which we'll get onto in just a second. Don't be too smug, EV drivers. But if you are
No,
a
don't be too
combustion
smug,
engine,
because I guarantee you all of your products are transported by non-EVs. So we're still going to feel it.
I feel like we've started the show without even trying to start the show. I will get straight into this next bit because I did want us to have a look at the price of petrol as well, which is kind of related to what we're talking about. And then we'll just say a few thanks to patrons and stuff, because we've got some quite exciting news about what the patrons purchased over the weekend.
I also have a prepared statement to read when we actually go into the show proper.
Okay.
Because we're in the preamble at the moment.
Yes.
It's a whole story. But
This
it's
is
in the
going to be one of
preamble,
those
so it
ones
doesn't
like
count.
the movies that go for 2.5 hours and the credits come up as the last thing. That's tonight. That's one of the shows tonight.
Yeah, 100%.
I thought about this idea, and we know that this government gave zero fucks, we'll just put it that way. And they gave zero opportunity for the previous government to use international pressure and things happening around the world outside our control for the reason things were expensive, and for things like the inflation rate, and for things like the cost of living. Remember that when they were in opposition, none of it mattered. International pressures did not matter. So what we got to remember is when we see petrol prices going up, international pressures don't make a difference to this government, because they didn't allow the last government to claim that as making a difference. So something else, Chewy, speaking of not aging very well, that I thought we could have a look at. This is a talk tick from Nicola Willis, and she wants New Zealand to know very, 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 very clearly that, they would do better with petrol prices.
If you think these prices are expensive, just you wait. You've
Yeah.
probably had some friends this week rushing in to fill up their petrol. That's because on Saturday, these prices are going up, up, up. Because the
Not just up, Chewy, but
They're up 3 times.
Up. They're going to go up 3 times.
Labour government are removing the temporary fuel tax band-aid they put on. That means an average litre of gas will go up about 30 cents.
Okay.
So what's
30
National
cents.
going to do about it?
Yes.
3 things. Number 1, we'll deal with the underlying causes of inflation instead of just applying band-aids. Number 2, we'll deliver personal income tax reduction around $1,000 a year for an average wage earner. Number 3, we will...
I mean,
Maybe.
if you even give that to them, that's $20. That's $20 a week. How much will $20 a week get caught up if petrol prices go up? There's only got 6 seconds to get to the end of it. Number 3 is we will strengthen
this economy, get it out of recession and growing again, so you can afford to fill up at the pump.
So
Fucking
they
take a victory lap, Nikki.
they made a promise, and if you're
Jesus.
not, I had to pause it for a bit because it was a bit blurry. But when she was talking about these petrol prices, 91 was $2.17, 95 was $2.33, and diesel was $1.73. Right. Now, even if you added those 30 cents on that they were supposedly going to go up, that would be $2.47 for 91, $2.63 for 95, and $2.03 for diesel, which I don't think counted. Right now, as we speak, the average in New Zealand, in fact, I think I got it to make sure that I got it right. Right now, as we speak, the average in New Zealand is more than what she was saying is bad, plus the 30 cents. So remember, it would have been $2.47. That included the 40 cents. It's currently $2.52. It would have been 263. That's after the 30 cents. It's currently 271. And diesel, which was $1.73, is currently $1.81. So I just want us to always come back to this thing that we started this show on. This show started on two main themes. One is to critique the critiquers, looking at the media and what they're doing and comment on it, but also to hold this government as accountable as they held the last government, and to hold them accountable to the promises they made. They made the promise, based on the clip you've just seen, that petrol prices were going to go down, 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 because under Labor they went up, up, up. And remember, under Labor they gave no space at all for international pressures. At not one, in fact, if anyone ever said it, like, international pressures beyond our control, eyes would roll in the National Party. No, you can't do that. It's bad management. No. So they don't get that back. But what they do get back is us checking up on them no matter what the international pressures are for what they promised they would do and how bad they said the last lot were. And if prices are already beyond what they were when they were bad, right? They're already beyond what it was. They're already beyond what it was plus the 30 cents, right? They're already beyond that. What's it going to be now? And how are these guys going to respond to it if we give them no breaks for international pressure like they gave the last government no breaks, Chewy? Nikki Nostradamus. That's very funny. That's very, very funny.
I mean, this was always going to be the thing when they were talking about, we're going to tackle inflation. As an exporting, importing nation, we're going to tackle global inflation. And it was just like, no, you're not. We're going to affect the price of petrol. How? It's 100% imported. It's 100% outside of our control. Like the international, like you've got one of the major oil producers on the planet is being sanctioned to hell for invading Ukraine. Now you've got the Middle East is just fucking kicking off.
Yeah.
Iran is a massive oil exporter. And then all the countries in the middle between Israel and Iran, all of our oil producing nations there. And then you've got America, which is just going to go, no, this is our oil and you can't have it. So it's wholly cooked. What I would love to do is have someone from the government and sit them down going, what is New Zealand's plan for energy resilience? Do we have one? Like, is anybody thinking of this? Because so many people are looking at like, well, China's getting ready to do something. Yeah, absolutely. And they will shut down global trade in a heartbeat. So
this is very good. This is a very good comment. Let's check this comment out.
Yeah, exactly. They can go for a 20-minute drive to a place where they can see cows and they still can't change the price of butter, but somehow they think that they can knock $50, $100 off the price of the price for a barrel of oil. It's just ridiculous.
No,
These guys
and
are
look, Chewy,
dreamers.
this is the thing where we sit, and I think I can say we for you as well, Chewy. I agree that the price of petrol is going to be massively impacted by a war internationally. I agree there is uncontrollable international pressure putting on the prices of things. But what I don't agree to is giving these guys the grace they didn't give the last guys. That's what it comes down to, right? They didn't give the grace to the last lot about international pressures, so they don't get it. I think the last lot had international pressures beyond their control. If you look at all the world, through COVID, what happened all over the world with the economies all over the world, it was the same, right? Remember, Jacinda didn't break every economy in the world, so it was the same. There was international pressures from around the world, right? I think that was a contributing factor. I do think the war in the Middle East is a contributing factor, but this government doesn't get credit for that or grace for that because they set up the rule that the last guys didn't get grace for that, and we don't get to play different games using the same issue. That's what it comes down to, just to be really clear.
If I was if I was a political leader, first of all, strap in. Secondly, like just
nationalize
to
be nationalize it.
After we've nationalized everything.
Okay.
I'm just thinking of being like the Prime Minister of New Zealand when the war in Ukraine is won, or the American bloodbath of an invasion of Iran is lost or whatever. And then you just go, well, I was the Prime Minister in New Zealand at the time, so I did that. I did that. I take ownership of everything that happened in my 3-year term.
Yeah.
And
look, the problem's going to be, and this is what happens always with arguments, internet arguments, which mean nothing because the internet is not the real world, other than this internet's real world, is that then the opposition will say, well, they'll say the opposite of what we're saying now. The right will say, well, just like the last guys blamed world events, our guys can do that as well. And it's like, yeah, I actually agree with that. But what we don't agree with, again, was the grace that they wouldn't give. So we're not talking about the precious, we're talking about the grace. Anyway.
I want our politicians to stop acting like it is an internet argument, though. Isn't that what a lot of this is? Is that they're behaving like it's I won that argument in the comment section, rather than just being actual rational leaders.
Well, David Seymour.
Well, the reality is that we can't affect this.
Well, David Seymour, and we are going to talk about him rejoicing over smokers being a cash cow tonight. He is actually the embodiment of an internet comment right now. Like, he is the physical embodiment of it. He is
so many ways.
But he is just. He is acting, and Chewy, you always talk about the New Zealand Herald comment section. He is acting in real life like the worst commenters do on the New Zealand Herald comment section. And that's bizarre. But look, let's move and get into that. And let's say welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. And I wanted to say a huge thanks to all of our patrons. And the reason I wanted to say thanks to our patrons is the lovely Emily has a very special day coming up. And as BHN...
You're all invited.
Patrons, as BHN and as patrons, we managed to give Emily a lovely gift for her special day coming up, and that came from you guys. So not only do you support the work we're doing, not only are you a part of this, and as we always say, the patrons are the reason we can project into the future what we're going to do, because it's the stuff that we are reliant on, but also you get to bless, is that the right word? Give your generous offerings that come in. Can also do things like give Emily and her soon-to-be new husband a fantastic little gift as well. So thank you, patrons.
This is exactly like, when someone in the office does something really thoughtful, goes out, does all the hard work, picks the card, picks the gift, all of that sort of thing, and then you get to write your name on the card at the end, knowing that you did very little, you weren't involved in it at all, but you get the good fluffies. That's what we're doing for you right now.
And yes, Ian.
In this economy? No.
One of those ones you put on a Monopoly board. And just while we're here as well, huge thanks to people. Now, I realize I haven't updated this. This is out of date. There is not free t-shirts this week. You can try it. You can get up there and put matariki as the keyword and try it. It's not going to work because it's timed out. But the store is still open. And
I'm going to run you through the Fair Trading Act after this.
And, well, it does say the week of matariki, so it's fairly obviously out of date. And I'm acknowledging. I can go change it now if we want to. And also, the shop is still up and open, and we did some pressing today, so we'll be getting some of the stuff purchased last week onto the couriers tomorrow, if that is you, and if you are waiting. Now, other news are in there. In fact, Chewy, actually, I'm going to go to a solo screen of you, Chewy, because people ask a lot for this shirt. Show us your top hoodie. Show us your hoodie, Cookie.
Oh,
Cookie
the classic.
Yeah, the classic.
The classic.
We are hoping to bring back the classic next week. And there's been people asking about the BHN product, just the straight BHN product. Those shirts that Chewy is wearing is slightly different from what we print. They're more cut vinyls. And to be honest, the people we bought the gear off, we haven't learned how to do the cut vinyls, and it's all kind of turned a bit pear-shaped and stuff. So we are going to have a lesson this weekend, and those cut vinyls will hopefully be back next week. If not next week, within the next couple of weeks. But we'll let you know when those are available. Right, one other bit of news, and I think I've told you guys this once before, and like Chewy just said, I thought that had already started, but officially right now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts is... The Front Line with Gary Pienda has now officially started. It is on Spotify. It is on Apple Podcasts. There is the trailer that's up there. This is the trailer.
Welcome to The Front Line.
Which is Gary talking to us about why he wants to make the front line, what the front line's going to be. And if you would please either go to Spotify and follow, or go to Apple Podcasts and follow The Front Line by Gary Pienda. And it will obviously be coming to the YouTube channel as well. I just need to design a thumbnail, which is a job for tomorrow. But we'll probably get one, if not two episodes out this week. Gary's is going to be a bit different. Gary's is almost going to be a bit more stream of consciousness, because Gary works in hospitals and he is interacting with the medical fraternity a lot. And he sometimes gets home from work at 2 a.m. and he has something he wants to say. So it will be coming out regularly, but it might not always be Friday at 4 a.m. It might be Monday and Wednesday of this week, and Tuesday and Friday of the following week, and then a Wednesday. And so just go and be a part of it. We'll always let you know here when he's got a bit coming up. But there's already a couple good interviews in the can, which I will look to get probably up this week. Actually, there might be 2 interviews with Gary up on that. So we are doing Apple Podcasts and Spotify at the moment. We are doing the YouTube channel as well. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, subscribe to this and make sure you hit the notification bell, and you will start to get some of Gary's content this week. Done, Chewy?
I'm going to say Gary's intro makes our iconic intro look like a pile of shit.
Yeah.
Like that's the beat.
Dude,
the beat on that track is good.
With, people
So,
have made
like
the
we're
intro
still
for us.
iconic. We're still iconic.
Hey, let's talk about stuff. Oh, let's actually go to the super chats first, because people have been super chatting us. This is a really interesting point. Australia, I was going to say this when you were talking, Chewy, and I don't know why yet. Australia, Labor government, left-leaning government, right, have said they are in support of the US actions today. Us, New Zealand, right-leaning, far-right government said we're going to wait and see. What the hell's going on? Why has Australia jumped in and said we're on board with whatever you want to do, Uncle Donald?
I can 100% tell you that Australia has some huge military equipment orders in with the US at the moment, and they even have a US air base in the Northern Territory. So I was disappointed as well. I saw that coming.
When you say you've got orders in, they've got orders in, you mean the Australian armed services are ordering product from America, or the other way around?
The Australians are ordering from America.
And so basically going, pacifists, we're pacifists. All of a sudden those orders might disappear. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, F-35s, new tanks, submarines, the whole works. So,
isn't this? But this here is the kind of thing where you look to politicians and you go, this is not who you said you were, Albanese, Labor in Australia. This is not who you said you were. And if you're now going to fold and be someone else because financially you feel like you need to be, then how can we ever trust you? Not that I have to care about Australia, but how do the left voters of Australia trust this government in Australia, who are now pro-illegal wars, pro-illegal bombings, pro-war crimes? That sounds like, imagine if the Labor government here was like pro-war crimes. Hello. How much of the audience would you lose like that? Shocking.
And look, I know there's a lot of people calling for stronger commentary from our government, and believe me, I would 100% love that. But I think the wait and see, or that we're just going to sit on the fence for a little bit and see how things lie, is probably the smart play here. I just wish it came from a place of the person making this call is smart.
Well, it's better. It's better than fucking what Australia's just done. These guys will be all over it, really. So the wait and see is 1,000 times better than, yep, we're on board, Uncle Donald. Shout out when you need us. So credit where credit's due. I mean, it's not as good. It's not as good as perhaps what a green policy would be to America right now, but it's better than an Australian. So give a little bit of credit where it's due.
Well, sort of talking about the parties sort of coming up with their own statements and that sort of thing. I actually spoke to Party Māoris, whoever's running their Blue Sky account at the moment, because they put out quite a big statement today, and I love Te Party Māori, but I think they were a little bit breathless over this. Because they put out this statement, and part of it is you don't send planes into a war zone just in case, not without a mandate, not without telling the people. This government is dragging us into World War III in secret without debate and with zero accountability. Now, that was after
So
the
hang on. So
announcement.
sending the Hercules over there to help try and get our people out. Yep. That's what they're referencing?
Yeah. So we're sending a Hercules, a cargo plane, into the area, not into Iran, because we can't at the moment, but close by. So when we're able to extract New Zealand citizens in the area, we can. That is not accelerating World War III. That is not us joining this coalition against Iran or anything like that. We do not have an offensive part in this. We just are pre-positioning something to get our people out. And I think sometimes, and the Greens can fall into this trap as well. Just because you're left-leaning, just because you're anti-war, you still have to have people that understand this stuff. And I sort of reached out to them and just said, hey, team, I think you're a little bit off base on this one. Sending a cargo plane with no offensive capabilities to the region to stand ready to evacuate New Zealand citizens is actually a good thing for the government to do. There are heaps of things you can criticise the government on, but in my opinion, this is not one of them. So,
and listen, and Chewy, imagine if it was the opposite. Imagine if the government was doing nothing to try and get our people out. That would be warranting of criticism. So no, I agree with you. I'm not on board with that. I mean, you've only read us one line, so we'll take it at face value as to what you've said. I'll have a full read of it later.
I could read the whole thing if you want.
No, let's not read the whole thing. We get we trust that you've given us the gist, but no, I don't. If the gist is because a plane's going there, we're going to get involved in the offensive war. No, I don't agree with that. If that's the gist of it, I think that we do want to get our people out, and if we can, I don't know, bed down in Jordan or in Egypt or somewhere closer and wait and see what happens. A friendly base somewhere. Just don't go to an American base in the Middle East right now. That's all I would say. New Zealand Air Force. Just don't go to an American base. No, not recommended. Yeah. All right. Says the short one. Please, everyone, don't forget about Palestine. That is absolutely
100%. While all of this is going on, and obviously grabbing all of the headlines and all the analysis and all of the breathless articles that RNZ want to put out about the truly awestruck nature of the B2 and the fact that they have a toilet and a microwave in there, that was a weird story. The stuff in Palestine is still going on.
Yeah.
Like as much as Israel is going, please don't strike our hospitals, they have not slowed down in Palestine at all. The story about them gunning down over 100 people waiting for food with tanks and snipers and drones is still going on. They are still kicking people out of the West Bank. This is great for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And what happened with Iraq was Israel made enough noise, I think, on some level to drag America into Iraq, and then they pulled back. And it's good, if we're not careful, the same thing will happen, that Israel, who started this offensive against Iran, remember, Israel fired rockets first in this current conflict. And if they draw America in like they have, then Israel will just duck away, and then they can keep on their genocidal ways back whilst the world's looking somewhere else in the Middle East. So 100%.
Other people that are stoked with this, Putin, nobody's paying attention to what's happening in Ukraine anymore. And he can sit back and go, well, cool, that's bought me some time.
Yeah. Danger of Mouse says, let us start a conflict. Oh, I think because it's shouted, it's a joke, I think, maybe. Anyway. Tane says, imagine the electric car industry and its increase in uptake prompted the attack driving petrol prices up. Imagine that. Oh, speaking of imagine, I've got a tweet to show you as well. I'll do that next. Someone sent me a tweet in the weekend. It was very funny. And then we started a big thread of all the imagines. Arvids was watching Tanya and Tina. There's a late fee there. And Donna has both done a super sticker and said, Hui coming up at Parliament steps will keep you posted. Okay. All right. Very good. Yeah. Speaking of that text, have a look at this. So I do this thing called Twitter. You may remember it from a day gone by.
Oh, the place with all the Nazis.
It's Nazi Blue Sky. I put up a comment, I think today, 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 23rd. This is us talking about Ruth Richardson increasing the rates, where she says in there a mandate is needed, right? That's the clip that we were playing there. To which Amazonia says, anything more and you must seek a mandate of the public, like with pay equity? Oh, wait. Like dismantling the state home build? Oh, wait. Like with cancelling the ferries? Oh, wait. To which then I chimed in. Like cancelling smoke-free 2025? Oh, wait. And they came back. Like spending $500,000 on vape kits? Oh, wait. And back to me. Like giving hundreds of millions to big tobacco? Oh, wait. And this went on and on and on and on and on and on. Like stealing ratepayers' assets? It was actually, I think, hashtag oh, wait, we should maybe try and keep going because it was, I mean, it's not fun looking at the why we're saying oh, wait, but it was an interesting little, oh, that's right. Like they didn't get mandate for this. They didn't get mandate for this. They didn't get mandate for this. Not that Ruth Richardson's part of the government, but people on the right demanding a mandate now. It's like, thin ice. Yeah. I'm going to say something nice about Mark Mitchell.
What the fuck? What's happened?
Wait.
Has he hauled an old lady out of a burning building?
Wait. And David
Skeptical.
Seymour. And
what?
David Seymour.
You didn't clear this with me?
Minister for Ethnic Communities. Let's just sneak by that Mark Mitchell is a Minister for Ethnic Communities for a second. Like, that could be a whole show in and of itself. Let's just skip past that. Giggle. Minister for Ethnic Communities, Mark Mitchell, condemns Destiny Church March, not Kiwi nor Christian. The Minister for Ethnic Communities said he was appalled by a Destiny Church March on Saturday, which was neither Kiwi nor Christian. The church followers marched down Auckland, Queen Street on Saturday against, quote, foreign religions, like Christianity. How Christianity was that foreign religion?
Big news.
That was brought in the 17th, that Christianity, that foreign religion that came, with leader Brian Tamaki saying the church was building a, quote, Commonwealth crusade to reclaim Christian nations. A number of flags were also set on fire, but they were out before firefighters arrived. In a post to Facebook, Minister Mark Mitchell said everyone had the right to freedom of speech and protest. That does not mean, however, that New Zealanders are free to condemn behaviour that is not in keeping with the values as a country and as a wider community. I am proud to be the Minister of Ethnic Communities in a multicultural and diverse New Zealand, which has a proud history welcoming people from all walks of life. There's a little part of me which wonders, this might be on Mark Mitchell's Facebook page, but I don't know if he wrote it. But either way, it's been done in his name. Destiny Church said the march was to, quote, take a bold stance for Christian values, Kiwi identity, and the future of this nation. Mitchell said behaviour that incited discrimination or violence was damaging and condemned the vile rhetoric and behaviour of the church and its associates. The behaviour I saw was not Christian, was not Kiwi nor Christian. The use of taiaha, which is a culturally sacred weapon, to overtly stab at flags representing minority groups in our country while being torn to pieces and burnt is not acceptable. Mitchell said the government had a strong focus in public safety. Anything that threatens or disrupts the public right to go about their lives free from threat or violence is something I take very seriously. New Zealand welcomes all people of all backgrounds and ethnicities who are willing to behave in a way that is tolerant and reflective of our values. The actions I saw from Destiny Church this weekend, in my view, are not welcome in New Zealand. Now, there is so much to unpack there if we wanted to about what Nationals actually doing to minorities and stuff. But if we can just look at that statement in isolation, good statement. So, good statement, Mr. Mitchell. Minister Mitchell. There's more to come, Jude. Do you want to speak to that at all first?
Yeah, look, I want to speak to that protest. It's like Destiny has long been a hate group, but their growing militancy and growing cases of direct action are only going to get worse from here. There is a tipping point here. They're stabbing at flags and overt hate messages that wouldn't be out of place at a National Front rally.
Yeah.
And just like one of their biggest banners was just factually incorrect. Christianity is the official religion of New Zealand. We
New
don't
Zealand has
have
no
an official.
language. Yeah.
They're not even the majority. There's 38% of New Zealanders identify as Christian, and most of them would
nominal.
disown this.
No, but hang on. This is really important, actually, because I don't know the exact facts and figures. I'm sure we can find them. My understanding is it's like 5% of the country are they kind of Sunday going, taking it seriously, churchy Christian people. Like lots of people, like if you grew up Catholic, you're Catholic your whole life. It's like getting into a gang. It's like blood in, blood out. You can't get out of it. No, even if you tell people you're not Catholic, they still go, "Oh, Catholic boy, you can't get out." Like those people are also included in that 38%. It's like 5%, maybe 10 if I was generous, that are actually the I guess hardcore, the people who are actually take their quote unquote Christian faith seriously. So it's even less than that 38. I just want to make that really clear, Chewy. Sorry, sir, you're saying.
Oh, I'm just going off the census results. Christianity is the most prevalent religion at 32.3%. And I guess that's self-identifying. That doesn't measure how involved they are or how seriously they treat it. That's just people ticking a box that say, I am Christian.
Yep.
Maybe I just go on Easter. That sort of thing. But I think the majority of those people that ticked that box and said that I'm Christian would look at the Christianity that that Destiny is putting out there and going, oh, fuck no, that's not me.
And most of the 5% that might be those, hardcore full-on Sunday Christians would say the same about what they're seeing there. So this is a real isolated what's the right word? Extremist group. That they are. They're extremists.
They're an extremist hate group masquerading as a church. They are a pyramid scheme for Tamaki and his inner circle more than they are a church. They're a hate group more than they are a church.
David Seymour denounces Destiny Church protest demands as un-Kiwi. Acting Prime Minister David Seymour has denounced today's Destiny Church protest in downtown Auckland. Hundreds have marched from Aotea Square down Queen Street in what the church has billed as a rally in defence of faith, flag and family. Destiny Church said the march was to take, quote, a bold stand for Christian values, Kiwi identity and the future of this nation. Church leader Brian Tamaki claimed uncontrolled immigration in the United Kingdom has led to spikes in crime and collapse in British identity. Tamaki said the church was building a Commonwealth crusade to reclaim Christian nations. Seymour said the church leaders' messaging was un-Kiwi. What it means to be Kiwi is people come here from all over the world, and so long as they come peacefully to build a better world, there's still always a little underling jab with him, isn't there? They're welcome, he said. Brian Tamaki's various attitudes have all sorts of problems, but at their heart, they're un-Kiwi attitudes because they're intolerant and uninclusive. What I take issue with is his attacks on other New Zealanders' right to practice their faith, just as he has a right to practice his. Now, again, hear me when I say this. Taken in isolation, it's a good statement from David Seymour. And when the people we disagree with vehemently have a good moment, it's still okay to go, that's a good statement. And I'm going no further than that. Yes, Drew.
The problem with that is, Pat, nothing's in isolation.
Yeah.
Especially when, not too long ago, David Seymour stood on the steps of Parliament next to Brian Tamaki, praised him as being a good man, and offered him support in getting a Destiny-run charter school up and running.
Well, I agree with you, Chewy, but I would just say again, not to sound like a fence-sitter, if Seymour said the opposite, I support Brian Tamaki's views in this, we would be so far up his arse tonight that he wouldn't know what hit him. He didn't. It's better than what he could have done. It's better than what he's done in the past. In isolation, in and of itself, and only in isolation, it was a good statement. And I'll stand by that.
There you have it, folks. Pat has more grace for David Seymour than I do. Anyway, speaking of David Seymour, I've got my little prepared statement that I'd like to read out.
Okay, can I show one more picture? I've got other video that I'll send up.
You
this
just
is
tell
the
me
other thing
when I
they did.
Read my Whittle statement.
I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't feature on the media
have
sign.
we not done enough?
Nah, not yet.
We haven't done enough.
That's the whole purpose of tonight. We want to see a BHN banner burnt.
Oh, well done, Aotea. You're there.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
New Zealand Herald.
Oh, I just thought of something terrible. I wonder if that means he supports what we're doing, because Plunkett's not there either.
No, actually, Pat.
Yeah. What?
See how it's rolled up.
Oh, we're in the roll.
Spin off.
Okay,
we
that.
can't. We're just not visible in this.
We're down here.
That's all it.
Okay.
That must be it, right?
Okay, that'll be
Brian
it.
knows we exist.
Yeah, that'll be it.
Cool.
Shall I text him and ask him? Do you know we exist?
Yeah. Hey, man. Just
he doesn't
a
respond.
Little bit of oversight. I think you might. I think you might have forgotten us. Please make sure that we're on the next one. Yeah, just a disgusting, overt display of bigotry. That whole thing.
Mm-hmm. You've got a statement, sir? You want to?
Oh, I have a statement. Thank you for reminding me. Obviously, today was the cutoff 1 p.m. for the regulatory standards bill. Reports I have seen is that it was 131,000 submissions made it across the line. The yardstick that everybody is measuring it against is, of course, the treaty's principal bill, which is about 300,000 submissions, which I believe is the most.
Do you have any insights? Why do you think that it didn't have it hasn't had the same, it's had an incredibly big reaction, but not the same reaction as the treaty principles? What are your thoughts?
I think it hasn't had the same cut through because that's how it was designed. You know, pre-Christmas,
it's not as front page. It's not as hickory and easy to see sort of thing. You think?
No, treaty's principle, Bill. We're getting rid of the Treaty of Waitangi. That's a single issue, and it's got a lot of cut through, and people just went no.
Yeah. Yep.
The regulatory standards bill is very dry and dusty.
Yep.
Like it doesn't have that same cut through. I think when it was communicated out going, yep, treaty principles bill is bad, but this other one is coming.
Yep.
And you need to know about it. I think it got the most active, clued on people to sort of go, yes, I can see the direct link. But
80,000 didn't march. No one wants to know, was it 131,000 pots? But Kiwi Skirt says this is the name doesn't hit, which is what you're saying as well.
And it was meant to.
But we should say this. But we should say this. We should say this. P Mizzle, my dizzle. That's great. 130,000. That could this be the second largest submissions ever? It must be close.
I don't know. I'd love to look into that. But yeah, we are measuring it against a single issue that was the most submitted on bill ever.
There we go. Previous highest was 107,000, which was conversion therapy. So you might have just got the top. We're going to take wombing as gospel until proven otherwise. That the issues around David Seymour and Māoridom and the treaty are the two highest, is polling the right word? Submitted submissions that any government's ever got in this country. I think that says in and of itself enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So, which brings me to my statement, because I criticised you last week and said that you were shit for not doing your submission yet.
You're shit.
I must admit, Pat, when I said that, I had not done my submission.
Oh,
so I did my
hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy of the highest order. So I did it today.
That's even worse. I did mine on Friday for Matariki, and then I put a tweet out about it for other people to do it. You're a dirtbag. This is our last show. We're breaking up after this.
Anyway, so my statement. Fuck you, David Seymour.
I thought you were going to say fuck you, Pat, for a second. Sorry. Start again.
Fuck you, David Seymour. I just made my submission against the regulatory standards bill while doing the most human activity I could think of. Taking a shit at work. You seem to think that only bots would submit against your shitty bill. Well, I'm a real human person, and the only bot involved in my submission was my bottom. So there we go.
Was that your whole submission? Your for real submission?
No, that's not my submission. I was
your prepared
sensible.
statement. Okay.
Yeah, that was my prepared statement.
That would have
for the
been a
fact
great
that I had
submission, though,
submitted.
Chewy. You would have been.
Oh, I don't think it'd get through the language filter.
You could say poo poo
Which is-
instead of shit. Taking a
My
poo-poo,
poo-poo
doing a
and
number
my
two.
bot. But look, that was the thing, though, right? Is he wants to punch down on people and make it think that you have to hit a perfect standard. You have to, do this multi-page, thoroughly researched, 100% lawyered up submission. You do not have to. You can say, I don't like this. What is your recommendation? I recommend
so
that
pissed.
you send this bill back.
See, I'm a shit interviewer. Why didn't I say to you last week? So have you done yours? Man,
You didn't. You let me away with it.
I trust you too much. I put you on too much of a pedestal, Chewy. Sheesh.
Never put Chewy on a pedestal.
But put him in the corner.
Lots of
That's supposed to be.
lots of people in our Discord submitted over the weekend and over the space of the months that we have been, weeks that this has been up. And
We
they've been
probably
prepping. We've
make
been
up for
practicing
50,
people.
probably 50 or 60,000 of those 130. I
At
think.
least.
Probably.
At least. But yeah, the other part of this is, of course, we spoke a little bit about it last week, is David Seymour's regulatory standards bill derangement syndrome posts that he's been putting out, where he's been targeting academics and that sort of thing. Over the weekend, he went after Tariana Ture. Sorry, didn't see the other person from Otago, but this is a breach of the cabinet manual. And it's coming from the acting Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister of New Zealand. And people are pissed. Obviously, the people that have been targeted are pissed about it because it has summoned David Seymour's terminally online army of keyboard goblins to target these people. So I saw
Tori Whānau
Whānau.
had a crack at him. I texted Tori earlier and asked her to come on, and she couldn't. So you reminded me. I just texted her again saying tomorrow?
Yep.
So
So
Tori Whānau
she
had it.
submitted an official complaint about it. And I believe one of the Auckland University lecturers that was targeted has encouraged people to make complaints of it being a breach of the cabinet manual and just a breach of decorum and democracy, I think, is up there. That's it read as really just snarky and dweeby. And then it was like, no, this is actually chilling to this democratic process that an academic can't stand up and go, well, in my learned opinion, I don't think this bill is good. To have the Deputy Prime Minister of the country go, well, I'm going to tweet this out to all of my supporters and say that you're wrong in every sense of the word and you have no right to stand up and say anything about it.
In Seymour's stand-up today, he talked about Tori Whānau in quite, dismissive terms. Tori says she'll check with her office and see if she can come on tomorrow. So maybe we'll leave it to that. Although, speaking of this whole thing, I don't know if Magenta did this, but there was a very, very, very funny Blue Sky post by Magenta today. I'll show it to you. You ready? Victim of the day.
God, he's a dweeb. Yeah, cringe lord syndrome. 100%.
So, very funny. If that's you, Magenta, well done. Well done. Yep. Okay. So we'll keep chasing that. We'll follow that up tomorrow. I don't have that footage tonight to show you about what he said about Tori, but basically he was saying, if she wants a crack, then I'll give a crack back. And it wasn't even a backsack and crack wax for him, but it should have been.
Yeah, I mean, this is who we need to be talking about. He's gone after Willie Jackson. Oh, sorry. I just had to stop on this one.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Mission Bay.
There we
of course
go.
He's going to swim in Mission Bay.
Yeah, sorry. I think I might have mixed up her
Yeah, the question
name.
the question was, is it Materia today? Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Who just lives up the road. Maybe we'll try and get her.
And
We
can I
should.
point out,
He was asked in the stand up today. I wish I did have it. He was asked in the stand up day about calling academics deranged. We'd never called academics deranged, and then they got into a semantic debate about the derangement syndrome sort of thing. But he tried to say they don't call academics deranged. So
There you go.
God.
There's David Seymour and his talks again.
I'm not going to
Look
sleep
at that.
tonight, Chewie.
Like, he's made going to the beach cringe.
All right, let's keep trucking, shall we? A few super chats that have come in for that thing. What would Jesuits do? Jesus do. Not the stuff Tamaki and his ilk do. Kiwi Bird Destiny Church should be labelled as a hate group.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give Destiny Church the steam off my shit. It's such I like that. That feels like that feels like a t-shirt. Destiny has Jacinda derangement syndrome. There you go. Mouse says DS is a bottom liquor until he isn't. Wahiki, I've been trying to get my whānau and iwi to submit to the Regulatory Standards Bill. Lots of eyes glassing over. The RSB is a lot more complex to understand. Yeah. Okay. But look, I mean, like, even 100%. Though we don't want to sound negative that like only 130,000, especially if it's, as we appear to think, the second most submitted to bill ever. You know, I'm really intrigued now because I think the one thing that may move Luxon is popular opinion. And I think Winston might be the same. So it will be very, very interesting to see if this thing actually gets through. Winston's already made noises about not wanting to support it. So, and if you've got, you know, basically 450,000 submissions, probably from, it won't be for all the same people, but it might be from 350,000 people and organizations. That's 10%, 8% of the population, you know, probably 10% of voters. Probably 10% of voters. So, yeah. Arvid says there's cracks in the BHN coalition. Is that another bottom joke? Might be. I'm not entirely sure because my butt's broken. It's got a crack in it. Todd actually made those RSB syndrome posters. Regulatory Todd. Who's Todd? Is that Chewie? Do we know who Todd is? I'm not down with it. No? Yes?
No. Sorry, it's escaping me.
Tell us who Todd is. Don't do it. Don't pay for it. I'll keep an eye out for your Kiwi Bird coming through. All right. Yeah, isn't it funny? We were just kind of saying I wanted to give a not even a golf clap, but like a singular for one statement Seymour has made, and then since then, obviously, what's flooded back into the shows is the horrific nature of him at all other times, at all other places. So yeah, I've got egg on my face.
Do you know? I just went looking for how many votes. I just went looking for how many votes ACT got in the election. I didn't find that because I found a much bigger number.
200,000? 8%?
200,000? Yeah. So
because 5% I think is about 120,000.
Total votes taken in the last election was 2,883,412.
So maybe like 180,000?
Now, if 8%? You're talking about 300,000 people took the time to write out a submission against the Treaty Principles Bill, the Venn diagram with the people that submitted against the RSB is probably a circle as well, but that's still 131,000. Like, that is a lot of people that are deeply unhappy with how this government has gone. And we know that that's enough people to swing an election.
Yeah. 246,000. Get my screen back. There it is there. ACT Party. 246. So there. 8.64.
So, yeah, like if this is a newly, you know, there's a portion of this, the people that have submitted on this, that I believe are what we've referred to as being activated. They're people that may not have been involved enough to vote in the last election. Maybe they were just like, my vote doesn't count. It's not important enough. All of these other things that we've spoken about. And now they're involved in the process. Now they're involved in making their voice heard. Maybe they're now following a political party. All of these things that can really change an election to what we want it to be, which is a one-term government. This stuff gives me hope.
There, I just don't know if you know if I highlighted it. It was fun to see Leighton Baker's party got 2,000 votes through the whole country. So, I mean, he's from a Christian group. That's probably just his first cousins. I think it's really interesting to have a look at, who is this man, David Seymour? Yes, he won Epsom by about 8,000. But let's have a look at this.
Let's have a look. Highlight. So go back up.
Yep.
You're missing a very important thing. David Seymour's middle name. Breen.
Oh my gosh.
He's named after some sort of industrial cleaner.
But look at this. This is really, I find this even particularly interesting. National Party got 20,000 party votes. Labour Party got 5,945.
This is Epsom,
ACT,
yeah?
Yep, ACT got 5,041. So actually ACT finished fourth. They finished fourth in Epsom in the party vote. It went National, long way back to Labour, then the Greens, then
So
ACT.
this is 100% National voters being told or saying, hey, look, the tactical thing here is that you've got to vote for David Seymour.
Yeah. And look, it doesn't matter because it will never happen, but I always do like to think that actually if you've got 17,000 votes out of 40,000, well, you probably couldn't do it because Goldsmith wouldn't do it. But there was certainly a time that if you got a couple of parties all voting for one, that they could knock him out. It doesn't matter now because they're over the 5% threshold. But it just goes to show, okay, so the people of his electorate, like the Greens, better than ACT. That's what that says. The people of his electorate, like Labour, better than ACT. The people of his electorate, like National, better than ACT. He's not even on the fucking podium when it comes to his party politics. Just think about that.
So is this a case of New Zealand, the Greens and Labour playing the same game that National and ACT have
There's
been?
not enough. There's not enough. Because he got 17,000 and Paul Goldsmith got nearly 10,000. So they've got, but in that right block, they've got 27,000 between them out of 40. So you could have done that back in the day when he was polling so poorly. Wouldn't work now, unfortunately. But then again, if they get over the 5%, it doesn't matter. So, anywho, Chewy, enough of our. I was going to play another clip that Chanel Lal had on their Instagram. I'm not going to play it because it does feel like a bit of a advertorial, this one here, for Destiny Church. Chanel put it up, obviously, to show how revolting it is, but
I think make them look cool.
I think we've given them enough attention, and I think there's this one person we haven't spoken about at all tonight that we might give some attention to now. That person is a guy called David Seymour. We haven't spoken about him tonight, have we? Don't think we have.
It's so hard to keep track of.
Yeah. All right, let's have a look at this. What I haven't done, which I want to do, is where is he? And look, I know this is easy to find out, but I've just sort of ran out of time today. I want to know more about where Seymour was speaking in the UK when he made these comments. What is the name of the man sitting next to him? What are their politics like? That's the work I'm going to do tomorrow. Because the comments that he made at this place, is that the most important thing, or was it the place that he was speaking at? So anyway, Mr. Seymour loves smokers because he sees them as a bag of cash who will never have to get their pensions, and they pay lots of tax.
Deputy Prime Minister David Seymour is doubling down after telling a London audience that smokers are fiscal heroes earlier this month because they pay lots of tax and die early. But opponents say smoking-related deaths are no joke. Senior political...
That's the acting Prime Minister. He loves smokers because they pay lots of tax and die early. That's the acting Prime Minister.
Reporter Benedict Collins has more.
While smoking kills thousands of Kiwis every year, our Deputy Prime Minister told a UK audience there's a good side.
Smokers are fiscal heroes. Like, if you want to save your country's balance sheet, light up because, lots of excise tax, no pension. I mean,
fiscal heroes, Chewy. Fiscal heroes is how he considers smokers. Many are going to say he's telling a joke, but he's not. He might be telling a joke, but he also believes it. Chewy will tell you about comedy on stage. The best kind of comedy, not that this is the best kind of comedy, comes from truth. He's telling a joke, but he believes it because he doubles down on it.
Excise tax, no pension. I mean, you're a hero.
His remarks appalling others.
It's horrific. I've met people and families who are seeing their loved one unable to breathe in their final days or losing limbs. It is not a quick death and it is incredibly expensive.
Today, David Seymour wasn't backing down. Were your comments about smokers up in the UK, were they in poor taste?
No, because they're true. And the fact is, if you smoke cigarettes, you pay a lot of tax and you get less superannuation. People now believe that we should be guided by taste rather than truth. We're not going to have much good debate in this world.
But a lot of New Zealanders, they have pretty grisly deaths from smoking-related diseases. And here you've got the Deputy Prime Minister of New Zealand calling them fiscal heroes.
Well, one of the consequences of people smoking is that they leave more money in the government's coffers. Now, it's a pretty grisly choice, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't have people who are prepared to put the facts out there.
The idea that it's somehow amusing to talk about death and addiction as being great ways to generate revenue for the government is just puerile.
His cabinet colleagues were out and about today. What do they make of it?
His cabinet colleagues were out and about today, running as far as they humanly could away from anything that David Seymour actually said. Now, just remember, I'm going to show you something shortly. He says it was not in poor taste because it was true. I don't think the idea about the excise tax that smokers put into the economy was the bit that people were talking about, the poor taste. It was basically celebrating them as a piggy bank. That was the bit. Calling them fiscal heroes. It was the terminology of calling them heroes to your neoliberal plan that was in poor taste, not the fact about the excise tax that smokers put into the economy. So anyway, Nikki no boats and her mate Erica no lunches want to respond.
I presume they were a joke. I'll leave David Seymour to explain his own jokes.
He also told the audience his government was right to shoot down Labour's smoke-free generation law, which would have stopped those born from 2009 onwards from buying smokes.
You would never be able to buy cigarettes in New Zealand because the age would go up every year. It was quite evil in a way.
So evil? Stopping people from smoking is evil. Now, he's about to walk that back. He's going to walk back the word evil, but he's not going to walk back the more important part. So of the two things, the saying it was right to walk it back or calling it evil, what's better for society? Well, actually acknowledging you made a mistake and walking it back? No, he's not going to walk that back, but he will walk back using the word evil.
He did backtrack from calling it evil.
On reflection, that wasn't the right word for it, but it was a poor policy, and that's why our government's reversed it.
He's let us see what the government really thinks, that they value smokers for their taxes, but don't care about those people's health.
Yep. Opponents call it callous. The government calls it facts. Benedict Collins, One News.
Chewy, I have got another clip to play in this little montage we're doing, but you, sir, have every opportunity right now to respond to David Seymour calling smokers fiscal heroes and calling Labour's world-class, world-leading smoke-free 2025 first evil and then going, well, maybe evil's not the right word, but it was bad legislation, so we repealed it. Sir, yours.
David Seymour is a snarky dweeb. And the only reason that he keeps on getting away with this is that he believes it with all of his heart that he's not a snarky dweeb. It's always a binary thing with him, right? They pay more tax, they don't take this as much super, and there's nothing in the fucking middle. There's nothing like decades of extra healthcare out of the public system. There's no humanity there. They're just revenue paying units. And then it's what they take out of the government system. There's no person there. There's no family member there. There's no years and years and years of being under the knife to cut something out of you, to living maybe another decade with one lung, to being hooked up to an oxygen tank and just basically drowning in your last few years. That's a joke. We can make a joke out of that, and he can just go, well, it's not bad taste. because it's true. Because a true thing can also be in bad taste. It's always binary with this guy. The other thing is to call this policy of going, hey, we know that smoking is bad for you and that it's bad for the country. We have decades of research on this, and the only people that benefit out of the smokes are these tobacco companies that have been promoting this product. And again, I will urge people to watch the film Thank You for Smoking. Have been promoting this product and concealing how bad it is and denying that it's addictive. And when the wealthy, well-educated Western countries find out about that and start shutting down, then they move on to the less developed part of the world and repeat that whole process again until they catch up with what's going on in the rest of the world. That's fucking evil. And this government has not one, has several people with experience in the tobacco lobby. That's fucking evil, David. You fucking dweeb.
Now, there's another
I want to give you a swirly and take away your lunch money every day if I had the power.
One other thing I want to get to. He said that it was not in poor taste because it was true. Remind us all of a thing that happened while Jacinda Ardern was in government.
That's not bad.
Can the Prime Minister give an example of her making a mistake, apologising for it properly and fixing it?
Mr. Speaker, there's been a number of occasions where we acknowledge that we will not have perfect responses. We've openly, Mr. Speaker, said that, for instance, MIQ was something that was very difficult at the time and that there were people affected by it and that we would do things differently were we ever confronted with that again. But, Mr. Speaker, I stand by the work that we've done as a government over this last year and over this past term. We've always made decisions that we believe to be in the best interests of New Zealand at the time.
Question number 5, Nicola Willis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is...
And the end. He's such an arrogant prick. Now, Jacinda had to apologise for that, Chewy. But I wonder if we can put on record having that apology expunged because it wasn't in poor taste. Because it was true. He is an arrogant prick. And if that's the standard that David Seymour's now going to set, as long as it's true, we can use any words we want to describe a person, a situation. Jerry Brownlee better look out because a lot of people tease him about something in particular. But as long as it's true what people say to him, David Seymour's got to stand for it. You know what I'm saying? This is the standard that David Seymour is thinking as the acting Prime Minister is acceptable. As long as it's true, it doesn't matter the words we use. I don't think you want to open up that can of worms, Rimmer. It's between me and you. It's true, Chewy. He looks a lot like Rimmer. It's true.
I've heard that. I've heard several things that... God, I wish there was a provable metric. Like you could send a blood test away and go, oh, yes, Mr. Seymour, your results are, yes, you are
it's true.
For being
what
an arrogant dick.
What Dan says is true.
And a snarky dweeb.
Yep, it's true.
We've
Nicola
put you
Nobots.
in this, we've put this in a program for you to be clinically bullied for the rest of your life. It's the only way that we can hold that in check and improve everybody else's quality of life. Not yours, not your quality of life, everybody else's.
All right, let's get some super chats. Citizen Gold, New Zealand doesn't have an official hate group register. We should have one. Anyone on it should automatically be banned from the charities registry. Destiny should be the first on that list. The Pearson. Does anyone else think David Seymour looks like Mo Sislak from The Simpsons? Well, if it's true, then no one could take offence to that. I can't unsee it, says the Pearson. Arvid says, you got to get Tanya and Tina on. Great korero tonight on what's next with the RSB, Epps the awkward stitch with New Zealand First. Are you talking about Tanya Waikato? Is that who you're talking about? We've had her on like 4 times. She hosted her own BHN show last Thursday. Is that what we're talking about?
And I want to sort of dovetail on there. The work that Tanya did, the absolute social media storm that she went on to spread information about what the RSB does or wants to do, was, I think, critical to the numbers that managed to submit on this. Like, she did heroic work.
In case people aren't aware, and I mean it's a bit late now, I guess, but last Thursday night at 7 p.m, Tanya from Rarotonga, I think she was, hosted an episode of BHN with Tina and Carwyn Jones. This is who we're talking about, Tanya and Tina. Yep. And yes, I have been messaging her. I think she gets home from her holiday, her birthday holiday. She was doing submissions over there. I messaged her, she's like, I got to go. I've got more submissions to do. People were sending her submissions and she was submitting them. Who knows how many thousands, literally thousands, she has actually done helping other people get their voices heard. So yeah, I mean, like this is not a waste to watch now, because there's lots of information and there's going to be lots more to happen with the regulatory standards bill. But this is in our lives right here. See, this is us live right now. This is in our lives. Where is it? There, from last Thursday, about 3,000 views ish, an hour 22 long. So that's the Tanya and Tina you're talking about, which I'm assuming it is. Yes, we have had her on and we will get her on again. Ian says Erica Chenoweth penned the 3.5% rule for changing governments. Why civil resistance works, the strategic logic and non-violent conflict. Kiwi Bird says Seymour scraped the bottom, scraped the bottom of the barrel in the depths of the Mariner Trench with that one. Yeah. Johnny says Erica needs a Scrooge. It works. Erica needs a Scrooge. Wooming says it looks like Seymour was sitting next to Lord Daniel Hannan, who was here for a TPU event at the end of 2023. Okay, so that's correct. Atlas. Yep. Atlas connected. Flying Kiwi Fist says, to put it indelicately, I'm pretty sure the tax that they pay through smoking is more than offset by their cancer treatments and income tax revenue. I can remember 15 years ago doing Talkback, and it was pretty clear that smokers put more into the economy than they took out with their excise tax, because people would always phone up and go, oh, there's such a strain on the health system, and actually they put more in than they took out. That's certainly what it was 15, 20 years ago. This is the acting Prime Minister making statements like that in public, yes. Gold. Fact, Seymour is a monstrous example of the worst aspect of humanity. Also a fact, the previous statement is not in poor taste. Well, because it's true. So there you go. Yeah. Lord Voldemort much? What the friggity? Arvid says, Judith Collins looks like a leathery old B word. It's true. Yeah, see, this is what I'm saying. Is if that doesn't make it, that it's not in poor taste if it's true. Those who take pride in being brutally honest seem more interested in the brutality than the honesty. I love it when Peter comes along and just puts it in a nice little socket like that. Running Man just says, here's $2. Oh, cool, thanks. Red Dwarf was not a documentary. I also saw a message that went past, which hasn't been starred, that said, and it was a good point actually, that it's strange to see ACT celebrating tax chewy.
Yeah, I thought that as well. Like surely all taxation is theft, right? And they're if they're a Libertarian party, then they should be against any form of prohibition, right? And this is where they trip up. This is where they trip over their own dick every time. Is like, you can't, like,
even
I
the
would
girls,
have,
even the girls,
even the girls.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Because if you haven't noticed, Pat, girls can have dicks too.
Okay.
Anyway, I would have a ton more respect for ACT if they went, we're a Libertarian party and we're going to mention Libertarian policies, however crazy. Because that's what we are. We're a Libertarian party. All drugs are legal.
Yep.
You know, there shouldn't be any taxation at all on anything. You know, everyone for themselves. Build your own roads. You know, you can't turn around and say, oh, we're a libertarian party, but we are for the prohibition of drugs and the criminalization of drugs. And we still believe in speed limits. And
well, hang on.
Taxes is good, actually.
You know, I hate to do this. I hate to do this, Joey. But on the legalizing cannabis thing, I'm 90% sure Seymour voted with, you know, the idea. He was for when the cannabis referendum.
That's just one drug, though.
I'm just saying.
Make you a libertarian.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember a few years back that ACT on campus, that group of unsufferable little weasels made the point that maybe ACT should be going for decriminalization of all drugs. So I think they're happy to walk under the banner of libertarianism, and if they were asked what that meant please don't tax me, daddy.
Yeah,
and that's it.
But these people are all very much, and this is, you see this on the right a lot. Now, you may see it on the left, throw out some suggestions, but we are free speech. Free speech is what matters. My facts don't care about your feelings until we're talking about Israel. Then you shouldn't be allowed to say that. No. You shouldn't be allowed to say. And, you know, we are libertarians. We want freedom for everything. And there should be no rules until we need to put some rules in place to control a few people. You know, it's like, it's just a very common situation with people who make these grandiose statements as to who their ideologies are and what they are, and then all of a sudden they get called on it and they look like fools. I mean, even our good mate Karen, what's his name, over at the Plonk Forum, you know, remember there was an app being made about what Israeli supporting businesses that you shouldn't use by just some individual. And Karen said that this kind of thing should be regulated. What? This kind of speech should be regulated is what he said, word for word. That is a quote. The Free Speech Friday, though, unless you're talking about Israel or something that I disagree with, then it's not.
ACT and its supporters will be the absolute first people to go, communism looks great on paper, but it never works in the real world. And it's going, yeah, but you're an ACT supporter. You know, you're this piss poor version of libertarianism, which also looks great on paper when you're 18, and doesn't work in principle. And it's just because you don't like being told what to do.
I like Greg's idea better. That's a better one. Lucky we don't work Fridays, Greg, or else that could be.
It's not an idea. That's a way of just being. Yeah, 100%. All
right, let's. Mata says smoking must be preserving Winston. You're about and the whiskey. You got to put the whiskey in there as well. It's the smoking and the whiskey. He does. Can I just say he does drink a good whiskey. He has good taste in whiskey.
I have a theory about what's keeping Winston alive.
Same as Mr. Burns.
Think it's you know how you get like just dead branches and you can just rest them up against each other like a teepee and they all lean on each other.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening inside his body with a whole bunch of different cancers. And that's the only thing, like the liver cancer is holding up the lung cancer, which is holding up the bone cancer. And that's the only thing that's keeping him moving. Yeah. It's just that none of those cancers want to give up. They want to win.
It's the same argument as Mr. Burns off The Simpsons. I won't get the clip because we'll get demonetized for it. But Mr. Burns has a checkup and they say, oh, you have everything. You have everything. And they basically said there's a strange interaction where everything is trying to get out at the same time and it's blocking the ability to get out. So you have everything.
It's like a perpetual terminal illness.
We have got one more story I'm going to get to, but I've just looked and I edited these, right? And the video is only 50 seconds. So, because, you know, I was thinking I do want to play this because if there is some lefty billionaire who wants to get a gold visa on the condition he has to do some investing. Hi. I've got some ideas. I've got some ideas for you. This gold visa is just an absolute rip-up of Trump doing the same thing, a gold card rather than a green card. It's pretty revolting. It's pay to play to the wealthiest people, like New Zealand and the right seem to have done with many, influential hundreds of millionaires or celebrities from internationally. Let's have a look. They're crowing over quite a good result, though.
The government says its new so-called...
Was it just me, or did she sound like she was only dogs could hear her when she said that note? That was so high. Was that just me? Oh.
No, it's pretty
The
high.
government says its new so-called golden visa has received more than 180 applications in less than 3 months, and the greatest interest is coming from the United States. The visa aims to attract wealthy individuals here, offering them a fast track to residency in return for investment. Economic Growth Minister Nicola Willis says applications for the Active Investor Plus visa represent almost $900 million of new investment in business here.
Good afternoon, everyone. In a world that is unstable, those who are smart see that New Zealand has untapped potential, and we want to put their dollars and expertise to work.
The government announced the visa in February, and as of today, 100 applicants have been approved.
So here's the thing, right? I mean, when we think about this, now I said if there was a lefty billionaire, obviously with my tongue in my cheek, because it's a surprisingly low amount of investment to buy citizenship in what is often considered one of the safest countries in the world. 900 million and about 190 people, that's 4.7 million. So basically, for under 5 mil, you can buy a life in Wanaka and Queenstown on the North Shore of Auckland, in Northland. If you're someone with a net worth of 30 or 40 mil, so nowhere near a billionaire, and you go, what would I spend 5 million on to live in New Zealand? Yeah, sounds pretty good to me. It's quite repulsive. And the part of me which kind of goes, what would be worth it? Like, what kind of investment would make this decision worth it? It's not fucking $5 million. Maybe $500 million? Come and invest that, and then we'll stamp your citizenship about $5 million. Basically, an expensive house on Auckland's North Shore, and you'll get citizenship. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right.
So that's what I was going to say. Is there? And I haven't looked at, hand on heart. That's my fault. I haven't looked into it. Is there any restrictions on the investment? Like, it can't be in property. You cannot invest in property. You have to invest in a New Zealand business or startup would be sensible, right? Or you must buy Northland a bridge or something like really targeted sort of thing. I don't know. My other concern is the fact that it's mainly from the US, because Silicon Valley have a love affair with the fact that US society is going to absolutely fucking collapse and they need to get the fuck out. And they have all read this book that we're the safest place in the world for when things really go down. Peter Thiel knows that. That's why he did this in the first place. We had an earthquake. He chucked a whole bunch of money at Christchurch, and John Key gave him a citizenship, and then he just went to war against the Queenstown Lakes District Council about him hollowing out a hill for his evil lair. I actually have a story that links into that, Pat, if we can go through that really quickly.
Yeah, man.
Talking about these tech billionaires. The story I came across over the weekend that the US Army have commissioned 4 Silicon Valley tech executives into the US Army and given them rank. Now, this is fucked. They have no army training. They are just tech executives. They selected 4 Silicon Valley executives for its inaugural group of Army Reserve Lieutenant Colonels. Palantir's Shyam Shankar, Meta's Andrew Bosworth, Kevin Wheel of OpenAI, and Thinking Machine Labs' Bob McGrew. Now, what I found interesting is that rank. That is 1 rank below general.
Wow.
Which just seems to be like, here's a cosplay. Welcome to the army.
What can you just what was the name of the third person? Because I can't read your print from here.
Thinking Machine Labs' Bob McGrew.
Oh, read the other ones. What's the last couple? I'm sorry, was one of them a teal? I thought one of them you said teal. Was I wrong?
No, so the first name there, Shyam Sankar, is from Palantir, which is Peter Thiel's facial recognition and tracking company.
Yep.
So
ignore me. Continue.
That's super weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, this kind of thing where Silicon Valley was focusing on things that were for the betterment of mankind, and we're not really going to do military things. We want to advance mankind. That has all melted away over the last 5 to 10 years when they realized that the defense industry has endless money.
Yeah.
So to have Facebook, Meta there, OpenAI, Palantir with its facial recognition and tracking software, Thinking Machine Lab, all involved in the army, and all just basically given, you've got a golden ticket to the second highest rank in the army with no training. Welcome aboard. Is guaranteed to have fucked people off that have been working towards that.
Yeah, imagine if you're like if you're like a major or a colonel, and all of a sudden you got to start saluting these guys wearing fucking hoodies and sandals. You know?
Yeah. So I'd be surprised. I'd be curious to see if these guys are going for that golden citizenship. They might have to pick the U.S. Army or.
But here's the point, right? Here's the point. Looking at the numbers they've given us, Nationals numbers, 190 people, 900 million. For a wealthy individual internationally, you can buy New Zealand citizenship for $5 million. It's not enough. Like, I mean, I'm not suggesting any amount is enough, but that amount surely is not enough. You know, I mean, how you get $30 million houses in New Zealand. There's not many of them, but they're out there. You can go up to Queenstown and you can put in your little Trade Me search, 5 million plus. Plenty of those houses pop up. 5 million is not enough. You should be investing 100 million plus. I mean, I don't like the idea at all, but if a government's going to force it through for fucking 5 million, for what's deemed chump change for some of these people, you think about a literal billionaire. How many lots of 5 million to get to $1 billion? A lot.
Yeah.
It's chump change for a lot of these guys.
Yeah. Imagine being, okay, again, theoretically, I am now Prime Minister of New Zealand. I am announcing my ginger citizenship ticket. I get the salt and pepper, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, like if you want to be here and you're insanely wealthy, then it's a percentage of your wealth.
Yeah.
Give us 10% of your wealth. We'll dump it in the health service and the education service, and yeah, you can build a mansion. Not buy one,
but then you'd have to. But then you'd have to also have a amount of wealth, because then someone coming over here with $1 million would give you 100K, you know. So with a minimum maybe. But as I was just working out there, of course, $5 million can be done 200,000 different times to get to $1 billion. So what is that? 1/200,000th of your net income if you're a billionaire to get citizenship in New Zealand. It's not enough. I don't think any amount is necessarily enough, but if a government's going to do it, that sure as hell is not enough.
Yeah.
All right, whānau. You'll have to stay attached for tomorrow night, but it sounds like we've got some guests. Robert Patman said he might be around tomorrow night for us to talk about what's happening in the Middle East. Tori whānau might be around tomorrow night to find out what's happening with Rimmer. It's not in bad taste because it's true. It's not in poor taste at all, you know, because it's true. And other than that, we will just continue on through the week. A huge thanks again to all our patrons who have both enabled us to do what we do and also contributed to some lovely BHN affiliated celebrations coming up in the next wee while as well. Yes. Get these out there while we're talking about it. Tina says definitely not a libertarian, but all drugs should be legal. They're a health issue, not a legal one. And Arvid says, I think Winnie is a walking preservation. Thank you for your super chats.
As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have the hand out for rewards, while the many have to work out what they can't afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention.
Nothing else from me tonight, show. Anything you want to throw out there before we head off for the night into the deep blue yonder?
ODT mentioned today that there has been another delay to the Otago Hospital through government incompetence. It's a story I forgot about. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow.
TVNZ did a really interesting bit tonight on student accommodation in Dunedin and how, funnily enough, all the landlords are scummy and they don't bring their houses up to living standards. So maybe we'll feature that tomorrow night as well. We'll see what happens. Night team, be well, be sweet, sleep well. Hooroo!
Cheers, fam.